Hey there.
Hey, my name's Callie. Say that again?
We're talking over each other. Let's take turns just this once.
Hey,
My name's
Hey,
Callie.
Callie.
my name's Kyoto.
My name's Ewan.
My name's April.
My name's Callie. This is a play. Well, kind of. Also not a play.
Let's not worry about what this kind of thing is called, what we might have started to call it.
This thing we've always done when we get together, whatever we start to call together.
And some of us watching listen and some of us speaking listen.
Wherever we're calling this is one of those. It's meant to take place wherever it takes place.
It's meant to take place here.
This could mean you're wherever you are, and everyone else is wherever they are. Joining together our heres to make a single here. Bolting them edge to edge on a screen like self-assembly plastic storage boxes for human heads.
Maybe. Or maybe, even just maybe, that we're all in the same big box, all in the same air.
I can look you in your actual eye, your actual human glistening, sticky to the touch, see it blink human eye.
Imagine that if that's not what we're doing, if we're still in the heads and boxes stage, imagine all the space and how it's going to feel when it finally happens, because it will happen.
And if it has happened, if we are all together in a room with air and eyes and all the sounds, the small sounds of bodies that microphones don't notice and speakers don't transmit.
Take a moment to think back to that time, our lost days for months or weeks or even just days going through this, when our bodies were quiet or at least only made noises we could hear.
Well, maybe the only clue to our actual existence, our actual real world existence, was when we froze, or glitched, or had to leave and return in the exact same place.
Weird, isn't it? How whatever way we're doing this, how whatever way we've been doing this, can so quickly become the only way to do it. The only way we've ever done it. I guarantee you,
Even though some things might be different. The distance between us, if we're in a room, the tension in the room that was never there before, the lag of different broadband speeds, the colour and closeness of the walls around us. We'll still find it hard to imagine that we used to do this any other way, or that the way we're doing it will change.
Anyway, this thing, this play, this poem, what we're calling it, what's happening, doesn't matter. But apart from that, and the name of it, is Hold Out Your Hand.
That's what was printed at the top of the document they gave us. It was in bold, to seem important to say the title.
But we're not so into that hold out your hand. We're not into it. I mean, we get it. We're not stupid. We get that someone thought of it and it's how hopeful about connection and contact. But it's a bit thin, isn't it? A bit on the bland side. A bit full of the kind of empty optimism you would say with a child crossing the street or walking down an unfamiliar street to a funeral or something. It feels kind but unfocused. Almost if it was a compromise. Like the guy thought, I want to make something about getting through this, but just that.
Not about doing, but about being there, about reassurance and about how everything's going to be okay.
How everything's gonna be okay, he thought. How if we're just gonna be here for each other, everything's gonna be okay. So, hold out your hand, he thought. That'll do it, except it won't. It could have been. And this is no disrespect. Honestly, mate. We're saying these words, aren't we? No disrespect, but it could have been a better title.
What about Head in a Box? This street's never been so silent. Or at least something that says clearly about the many shades of feeling, from relief to joy to the deepest sorrows, the total fury it's possible to feel about it. And I mean, for whoever wrote this, I mean, I'm sure it's a man, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a man.
I'm sure he would like.
I'm sure he would agree.
I'm sure he would agree. There's a lot he doesn't know, and a lot he doesn't guess. And a lot he doesn't want to guess.
A lot he thinks but knows is wrong.
And the rest of it, he's making up. He couldn't know. How could he? The lowest point of this year for me was going into lockdown.
And the highest point for me was getting to spend so much more time with my family.
But anyway, here we are. Probably when this is happening.
When we're saying this, when you're hearing this, we're all still a bit spooked. Still a bit scared of touching each other. Everyone's just been feeling like they've been walking down a dark hallway and they're about to touch the door handle.
Most of us are going to move through our own lives like ghosts, as the world has changed around us in ways it never has before. Ways we have to find words to describe.
It was like the door slamming shut behind you, and you're realizing you're not locked out, you're locked in.
No, that's not it. It was like a montage in a film, except it kept repeating the same few frames over and over.
No, that's not it either. It was like standing at a bus stop, except the timetable's blank and all the numbers on the board kept changing.
I think we should try this one ourselves. It was like trying to get to a very specific place, but you're just walking in circles over and over.
It's like drinking cold soup. You know something's off, but you just can't tell.
It was like everyone you loved was masked by thick fog, but you can't get close enough to recognize them.
That's what it was like. Maybe it still is.
So, anyone else been having really weird dreams? Don't worry, we're not going to tell you about our dreams. Except, I had this dream.
We literally just said.
We literally just said this wasn't going to happen.
Let me tell you just one. So, I had this dream where I just fell.
I had this dream where my house back in Elgin was being attacked by giant ants.
Well, if I'm being honest, I can't really give an opinion. But if I remember, I did have this one dream where I was just trapped in a dark room.
Look, I know this guy's no good at titles, but maybe, just maybe, he can give us a shared dream to tell you. Maybe we can trust him that much to give us one useful dream.
It's worth a try.
So, I had this dream where I was walking outside. Not my outside, as in, not what I'd see if I went out the door. It was an outside that differed in certain very important respects from anywhere I'd normally find myself. It was huge for one thing. Not streets or houses, and the sky, not just a ribbon, stretched out over a road glimpsed between the artificial horizons made by buildings closing in on either side. It was bigger than landscapes without buildings, wider than mere lands, more distance in the glimpse you sometimes get of distant hills. The ground was flat, not grass flat or rock flat, or artificial car park flat, but the flat of an afternoon spent looking out of a window at a leafless winter tree. And the ground, the colour of the light fading on a wasted day, the sky thrown over like an overwashed bedsheet, and the sun's invisible light just seeming to come from every direction. No shadows, and bright. And me, not even in the middle of this, because there is no middle if you can't see the edges, just there, like, I was in my body. I was definitely in my body. I was absolutely, definitely me, wearing my hair, my height, my skin, my clothes. Standing on that empty ground in a colourless dream version of my everyday shapes. I stood there for a long time.
Is that it? Is that the dream?
No, I was just doing a long time.
No, sorry.
It's okay. I stood there for a long time. And I thought, do you ever think in dreams? It's really hard, but I thought the world was gone. And then I thought about if that was true. And at that moment, it felt true. And really, what's been lost? I didn't really feel grief. didn't really feel happiness. There were many things I'd miss, but there was many things I was glad to lose. I guess it kind of balanced out into a state of mind that felt like the landscape looked. I was sad to lose being in some part of the city on my own, feeling not known, feeling unknown. But I was glad to lose the eyes of strangers on me. I was glad to lose worrying about how I was going to dress, fear of what might be thought of me. But I was sad to lose a reason to get dressed at all. I was sad to lose some kinds of touch. But I was glad to lose some other kinds of touch.
I was glad to lose the people I didn't care about. I was sad to lose those closest to me.
I was glad to lose that pressure into the doing.
But I was sad to lose the people I did care about.
But most of all, I think it was control. I was sad to lose control. It was like the whole world was a mug that had just been dropped. You know that moment where you've just made a drink and everything's right in your life? Then, for some reason, for some completely stupid reason, the mug's not in your hand anymore. And your fingers flash through empty air for a frozen fraction of a second. The whole thing's laid out before you. There's nothing you can do but watch it spin in progress to the floor. Well, the way you feel in that moment, like a bystander, an accident. Except the accident's your life. That's the way the dream felt. Standing there, all that emptiness.
Except, and this is important, except this isn't real life. In real life, the cup was dropped somewhere unknown, the other side of the planet. Nature had made us a cup of tea, and we had fumbled it. We were standing in the universe's kitchen watching everything we carried fall tumbling to the tiles.
I know the universe of tiled flooring, eh?
Caught in a frozen moment of not knowing, waiting to see if the rules we lived by, structures we thought were solid, so much we had forgotten were there, waiting to see if they would break or bounce.
Out of our control. Nothing we could do to stop the fall. But in this world, in this strange world, the falling, the feeling of it was not an action, taken or not taken. It was not an accident. It was not the world happening without me. I realized as I stood there, it was a choice. In the dream, there was a feeling I had no control. But I was in control of it, of the feeling of not being in control. Which meant I could choose. I could choose not to feel it. It was just me. No rules, no rocks, no buildings, no landscapes, no responsibilities, no work to do. Everything waiting. Everything suspended. And only me there, meaning no matter what my life was like outside of the dream, everything in it was my choice. And I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to that at all. So I stood there, just waiting for something to happen. And slowly, it crept up on me. Fearful, yeah, but also kind of thrilling.
Nothing was going to happen.
Nothing was going to happen.
Nothing was going to happen.
Unless I made it happen. And so I held out my hand.
Alright. That's the title. Makes sense, I guess. Still don't like it.
Anyway, I held out my hand. and absolutely nothing happened. I guess I thought once I figured that what happened was in my power, it would come easily, like, bam, there's a what? Bam, there's a fountain.
A fountain?
It was the first thing I thought of.
A fountain. Okay, well, bam, there's a pizza.
Bam. There's a book.
Bam, there's a toaster.
I think I thought it just flew like film magic. Like game magic. Like the power in me was point and click. But it didn't. I had to really think about it. I had to start simple, which seemed a bit unfair. It was my dream after all. But apparently, I didn't make the rules. I collected myself, and I held out my hand. I started simple, and I thought, blue. It doesn't get more simple than that. Blue of the sky, I thought. And I closed my eyes, and I opened them. And something had almost happened. There was still nothing. Still flat, but maybe, just maybe, it was slightly bluer nothing than before. Thing is, I could feel the power like a spring inside of me. Both kinds of spring, I mean. The water kind and the metal kind. Like it was gushing out, but also winding up and keeping the tension. And the way to be in charge of both of those things at once was to use them both. Think simple. Think blue. Let it flow out, but also wind up and keep the tension. Direction by answering the question. What kind? I thought. Blue. But this time, I thought blue of the sky. And not just any sky, because all skies are blue. But the blue sky in summer, when you've been up all night. Maybe you've climbed up on a roof. You're the highest point in your surroundings. And the horizon you can see knows the sun's on its way. But not for a while. No clouds, no lights on in any of the buildings. And just at the end of the dark, there's a blue that says morning's coming. That blue, I thought. That one. And I held out my hand, and I stretched my fingers wide. Closed my eyes, and I opened them. And the blue in my head was the whole world. And the world was still simple, featureless, and flat. But that hopeful, gentle blue of almost morning was laid across it and within it, like it had always been there. And it felt strange.
This is all sounding a bit weird.
I know, this is all sounding like some mystical experience.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't the strange feeling of magic, fantasy, extra dimensions and alien worlds opening up. It was the strangeness of this world. Even this simple world and this simple landscape being within inside me, being within my control. One decision that was mine.
And then?
It was a dream.
Yeah. I know it was a dream. What happened then?
I woke up. Same room in the same house.
Same house on the same street.
Same street in the same town.
Same town in the same country.
Same river flowing into the same sea.
Same carpet, same curtains that don't quite close.
Same splash of paint on the back of the door.
Same clothes in the same pile.
While the same sun lights up the same spot on the same poster.
Same sounds from outside.
Same voices from inside.
Same voices inside me.
Same day repeating again and again.
Same planet crawling through the same space.
Same screen in my hand telling me the same half-fake information.
The same hysterical guesswork.
Same words spilling from the same faces.
Same opinions on the same subjects.
Same arguments over the same action.
The same stale food chewed over by tired mouths.
While the same stale power grabs in the same stale hands, frummed in the background like the noise of a distant factory.
Turns out, the way the dream feels, it isn't a dream.
Whether we're saying these words while we breathe the same air or look at different screens,
Whether we've come miles to be together, or we're miles apart and all together,
If we can't say what we want this world to be, then we're alone, trapped in our own dreams.
Hold out your hand. This is how it starts. The trick of it is realizing you don't have to dream it. Hold out your hand. Let it break through the monitor, through the distance between us.
touch doesn't have to be touch to still count as a connection.
Hold out your hand. We're still in that dream, still lost in the landscape we're standing in, even when we're awake, feeling alone. No markers to guide us, no roads to guide us, no history to guide us, but hold out your hand.
put a marker in the ground. Remind yourself this uncharted land is as much as yours as anyone else's.
It doesn't have to be nearby. Somewhere you'd like to be a year from now. Somewhere you'd like to be 10 years from now. Some change you'd like to see tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The important thing is, it starts with you.
The important thing is, even in these times of isolation, even in these times of confusion,
Even in these times of repetition.
Even in these times of repetition,
There is togetherness.
and change.
And a choice in what we do with it.
one decision that is mine.
And a choice to share it.
So we're sharing this. Keep being together.
Let go of the tension.
Keep my train of thought.
Let go of the anxieties you're afraid to share.
Keep the memories.
But keep moving forward.
Let go of the anger you have bottled up.
Let go of the fear of isolation.
Keep the same smile although it's hidden behind a mask.
Let go of the past and appreciate the future.
Keep the lessons.
So, what do we do now?